Andrew Main here, and this is part 4 of Creating Magic for Money 101. Previously, we talked about the number 300. I explained that if you can sell 300 units and count on doing that, it's a great number to count on for breaking even and not losing your shirt. Now, to sell 300 units means you've actually got to have at least 300 units to sell to people. If you sell them something and you don't give it to them, it's called theft. So if you're going to make 300 DVDs, you're probably better off actually making 1,000 DVDs, because by the time you figure out how much it costs you per DVD to print 20, 40, 50, 100 or whatever, when you get to the 300, it's cheaper just to buy 1,000 DVDs. How much does 1,000 DVDs cost? Well, I've looked online and you can actually have 1,000 DVDs made for $1 a piece, and that means it's put into a case, it's packaged and everything. $1 each is pretty cheap. Now, let me explain to you just quickly for people out there that aren't familiar with terminology. When I talk about a DVD, what do I mean? Now, you can give people a DVD with a magic marker, name on it and title, and put it inside of a paper sleeve and sell it to them for 30 bucks, and you will be the cheapest man in the world. Or you can package it so it looks at least as good as something they buy in a store. Now, this is what a regular DVD package looks like. Let me explain some of the terminology in here. On the outside, this is called a wrap, and it's called a wrap. Do you know why? That's right, because it was invented by Kanye West. On the inside, we have what is called the DVD, and that is the face. So when you talk about the face, this is the face. This is the case. This is a standard case. It's an Amray case, so you have your DVD, your faceplate, your case, and then your wrap. These are the components you want to have that go into your DVD. And the cost of manufacturing something like this now, if you're going to do 1,000 units, like I said, is $1 each. And what's great about a case like this is most magic gimmicks that you can come up with will fit inside of here, if we're talking like card trick gimmicks. So you can actually put the gimmick inside of there with the DVD and have it all packaged for very little money. Now, to do 1,000 units, though, means you need $1,000. Let's assume that you have some of your money tied up in other things. Maybe you paid somebody to help you make it. Maybe you have to make gimmicks, and you have no money left over. How do you release your product then? How do you get it out there if you can't afford the $1,000 or you don't want to put the $1,000 into doing that? Well, that, my friends, is where bootstrapping comes in. And before I close off on that, I'm going to tell you right now, by the way, Primer, the DVD I just showed you, fantastic DVD. One of the greatest independent films of all time. I know that's a non sequitur and totally not related, but I really love that movie that much. So let's talk about bootstrapping. Bootstrapping, what is that, you say? Well, literally, bootstrapping means to grab your own shoelaces and to lift up on them and float up off the ground, which is an impossibility in most situations, which is why bootstrapping is actually a metaphor. It's a metaphor for succeeding by your own efforts, without any external help, without any handouts or whatever, no external influence, money, etc. To succeed just by the sweat of your own labor and what you can beg, borrow, and steal. So when you talk about bootstrapping, how do we bootstrap a DVD? If you want to get the money to make 1,000 units, you've got to sell a few first. How do you sell a few if you don't have any? Well, that's easy, my friends. You see, you make it, you burn it, you print it yourself. Now, just about every computer today can burn a DVD. And you can go to an office supply store and get some blank discs and get the materials to package a DVD and make it almost as good looking as something that comes in a case like that. Good enough to sell a few dozen copies to some people who are happy to have it. So you can do this yourself for very, very little money. You could just try and sell one and use the profits from that to make 2, and use the profits from that to make 8 and 10 or 12 or whatever. That is the essential idea behind bootstrapping. Now, what about booklets and books? Now, printing on these things has gone up over the years. Online printing has made some of these costs a little bit cheaper. But the reality is, in the magic business, there's just not a lot of money in booklets and books. People don't buy these like they used to. People like to buy DVDs, which is actually kind of good in a way because DVDs are very cheap to produce. It's bad because it's very easy for people to rip you off and BitTorrent and do all those other evil things that people do to creators. But the upside is your costs have gone down as far as making these things. And you can make it, burn it, and print it yourself using your own computer. Now let's say you've made your DVD. You've made your first DVD. Now hopefully you're using a Mac and you used iMovie and it was really easy. You've got your first DVD. That's great. How do you sell it? What do? Do you go door to door? No. Do you try to sell it to your family? Not a good idea if you want them to still talk to you. Okay, what are they going to do with this? Sell a couple to grandma? No. Do you go to your friends? Maybe. Are your friends magicians? Now, your close friends, you got to give it to them. Give a few out so they talk about it and tell people how great it is. Another way to sell it is, if it's a really good item, you got a DVD, go to your local magic club and say, hey, I just produced this DVD. You got to give them a discount because guys who go to magic clubs love discounts. So if it's a $20 item, sell it to them for $10 or whatever and say, hey, I've got 5 of them here. I've got 6 of them here. That's a place to sell it. Maybe you have friends online. Tell them you have the DVD and maybe they want to buy it from you. That's one way. That's one way. There's more ways here. Don't worry. I'm going to get to that. Perhaps you're on message boards. You put up a video clip of your item. You show it to people and say, hey, I've got this trick. If you want to buy it from me, I'm selling it myself on my website. You can buy it from me directly. That's a place to do it. People have done that before. They put items up there, and if they got people really excited, they'll go buy it. That's another way. So you can use friends. You can use message boards. What else can you do? Well, YouTube. You can put up the trailer for your item. You can talk about your item. You can put a video clip up there and tell people on YouTube about it and then sell it to them there. I mean, provide a link back to your website. Eventually, somebody will probably put a free explanation up for you, kindly. But before that happens, you can tell people this item is available and you can use YouTube as a way to get out there and tell people about it. What else is there? Well, there's iTricks. Now, you can send an item in to be reviewed for iTricks reviews or iTricks raves, as we call them. And when one of our reviewers gets around to it, they'll put up a free review of your item if it's good and talk about it and provide information for people where they can get a hold of it, and that's free. If you want to be on the iTricks front page for a very, very low fee of like $40, you can get what's called a sponsored post and be in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people and tell them about your item. So again, iTricks, I'm just telling you this as a service, not because it's my site. Well, maybe a little because of that, but iTricks is a way. But finally, there's one other way you can get your item out there. Well, there's a lot of other ways, but there's one other way you can get your item out there. And what is this? A limited exclusive. What does this mean? I'm glad you rhetorically asked that question because I'm going to answer for you now. Magic shops are in competition with each other. The problem with running a magic shop is your competitor has the same junk you have, and a customer is just as likely to buy from them as they are to buy from you. Maybe the person that has the better advertising or the person that does the ridiculously low discounts or whatever is going to get that customer. So how do you compete with that? You compete with that by having something they don't have. Magic shops love to be the only people that carry stuff. Now, it used to be a magic shop before they went online would be like the only magic shop in town. But now, because we're all on the internet, they have to compete with other people. So you can go to a magic shop and you can say, hey, I've got this item. Would you like a limited exclusive? Now, the reason you do this is this. One, you only sell a couple dozen items to them, but it'll give you enough money to then pay for producing 1,000 units. Hopefully. No guarantees there, but it's a way to try to do it. So you want to go to a shop that's got a very large customer base, and you offer them a limited exclusive. That means for a short period of time, they're the only ones who get to sell it. Now, you sell it to them maybe at the regular, wholesale price or whatever, where it's going to be 40% off the retail price. And you want to move enough units that you've made enough money that you can then pay for doing a mass replication. So how do you go to a magic shop and do this? Have your item ready, finish your DVD, have it packaged, have it made the way you're going to make it when you make it yourself. Have a video clip you can send to them and a write-up and contact them and say, hey, this is my item. I would like to do a limited exclusive. I want to move X number of units. Or I want to guarantee you will buy 24 from me or 36 or something like that. Don't ask for a really high number because, again, they're a shop with a limited place to market to, but don't ask for a ridiculously low number. Now, if the product sells really well, great. They'll get, 30 days to sell your product, and then after that, hopefully you have enough money to then sell it in large scale. So that is the way to do it through a limited exclusive. Contact your magic shop and present this to them. If it doesn't sell, if they list the item and they put it in front of people and nobody buys it, that's a really good indicator that maybe it's not going to sell really well elsewhere. So it's a great way to test market. Limited exclusives are very good ways to do that. So that's the advantage of doing a limited exclusive. So let's recap for Bootstrapping 101. Figure out your minimum costs. How cheaply can you produce a dozen of an item for? Sell it to people via word of mouth, message boards, YouTubes, etc. Try iTricks.com. Okay. 3, give a shop a limited exclusive. That's another great way to get your product out there and to test market it. Try these 3 ways to bootstrap your product, and it's a great way to find out if it'll sell, and it's a great way to get enough money to then sell a lot more of them, or give up and pick a new line of work.